Welcome to another episode of the Five Senses webcast. I'm your host, Robert Zinni, and today our guest is one of my favorite people here in Prescott, Sky Conwell, aka Sky Daddy, to talk about his music and some other projects. Sky, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you for inviting me, Robert.
No problem. And just to let our viewers know that I came in your presence when we were filming the TBD show, and I would like you to just talk about that story of how we came to be acting buddies.
Well, every Tuesday I play at Jersey Lilies over on Whiskey Row. I just a solo gig that I've been doing for a couple of years now, and Brandon came in with the director, or one of the directors. I don't know, one of the people involved in the TBD show anyway. So anyway, he was there with this girl, and they were drinking, and they were talking to me, and I was playing music, and I guess he liked what I was doing. He liked my style. He liked how I interacted with the audience, and so he said, "I want to talk to you when you're done, when you take a break or whatever." So when I was all done, I went and talked to him, and he was real excited, and he said, "I want you to be in a part of the show as a musical guest," and he told me about the TBD show. And I was really excited about it, and I liked his energy too, and that's how it happened.
Right, and we got you on as a guest, but then I think midway through the season we kind of made you a regular. So, have you had any prior acting experience before coming onto the TBD show?
I actually have. Okay. Yes, sir. I was an extra in a movie called. It was filmed in Prescott. It was about a Vietnam veteran coming home, and Ride the Thunder was the name of it. I was just an extra, and I was just kind of in the background. But you can kind of there's no speaking parts, but you can kind of see me, and you can kind of I'm not just a blur. Like I don't know if that's him or not. No, you can definitely tell that it's me. I'm also in a movie that my friend did about a documentary about Whiskey Row and about the history of Prescott called The Legends of Whiskey Row. Yeah. I play Wilson. I guess Wilson was running from the law, a fugitive from the law, running from the law in Texas, and he came to Prescott. And he didn't stay for very long because people recognized there was a wanted poster with his. So then I was shot and killed by Virgil Earp, Wyatt Earp's cousin, I believe, maybe nephew or something like that. But anyway, that was the story, and I got to play the part of Wilson. So I got to be a bad guy in this documentary. There's no speaking parts because it was just kind of narrated, but I got to kind of be the bad guy. It was kind of fun.
Nice. How did acting out your own death feel?
It was fun. I mean, it was like there was a shootout, and I was like hiding behind a barn, and I was like shooting the gun and hiding in it, and then, it was just dramatic. It was fun.
Nice. We might have to work that into season 2 of the TBD show.
I'll die and come back to life, kind of like what you did.
Yeah, exactly. So, we have you on. Just wanted to kind of promote the TBD show because you are such a great actor, and one of my favorite bits of season 1 was your audition, and y'all can see that on a later date. But thank you for being a part of it. But I really wanted to get to the man behind the music, the man behind the daddy, Sky Daddy, if you will. So I wanted to start off with what inspired you to become a musician?
Well, I've been playing music as long as I know. I don't even remember not being able to play music. I think my parents recognized the talent that I had in me. One time when I went to Indiana to visit my uncle, my father's brother, and I was probably 2 or 3 years old. I couldn't even reach the piano, but I was all reaching up there and doing ding, 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 and playing around, and I guess they just knew right away that I was musical. They bought me a guitar, and I took lessons, and I kind of learned on my own. So that's always been a part of me, but it's always been a hobby. Of course, when I was in high school, I formed my first band, and in college I had bands, and I kind of was starting to make some money playing music, but it was always kind of like a secondary thing. But inside, in my soul, in my heart, that's what made me happy. That's when I was really living. So I would go to work, and that was all right. I enjoyed my work. I enjoyed my job. But what I really wanted to do was play. I was a school teacher for 15 years. And so I'd bring my guitar into the classroom. My kids would just love it when I would play for them. And I was a good teacher. I was a responsible teacher, but there were days when they're working on their projects and everybody's quiet, and I would just kind of play some soft music. And those are the times that my students remembered, because I run into my students even today, and they talk about it. They're like, I remember that you would just sit there at your desk and play music, and it would just relax us, and it would just help us, do the work, and that's what they remembered about me. They didn't remember, the things that I taught or my style, or that they remembered that I played music. And so I just decided one day that I guess it was probably what you call my midlife crisis.
Okay.
I decided to go full time. and because that's what I realized made me the most happy, and that's what brought me the most joy. And just performing music brings me the most joy, and so I decided to start that.
Hmm.
At first, it was a struggle, of course, because I didn't have that steady paycheck. So, but I knew it would be a struggle, but I did it anyway. And I had a lot of people. You know, my mom and my dad took care of me for a little bit. They bailed me out a couple times, but now it's like a snowball effect. You know, after a while, people start to know who I am, and it's a lot easier for me to get the gigs. And I am making a living, just barely, but I am making a living playing music
Now, that's
full time.
great that you're following your life's passion, and I think you said a life crisis, but sometimes the happiest people do what they do until they die, and I think some of the most happiest people actually die doing what they love. So kudos to you, Sky,
Thank
for
you.
changing it because it's a really hard to change careers.
It really is. Yeah, I had half the people in my life saying, you know, don't do this. You know, you're an idiot. You gotta survive. And I got half the people saying, follow your dreams. So I'm glad that I listened to the half that asked me, that encouraged me to follow my dream.
Exactly. Now you are a staple here in the Prescott music scene, and I think every night you seem like you have a gig. If not, you've been doing your live streams as well. So it's
Yes.
been really great, giving us some great music during the pandemic. So I know you more of like maybe like a country western kind of singer, and I know on the show we joke about Johnny Cash a lot. But I was wondering, who were your idols growing up that really inspired you to shape your style of music?
Sure. I grew up on country music, so that is my roots, and I'll never go back. I love the old. I don't know. I don't like what they're calling country today. So when I say country music, I'm talking about country music as I remember it: Buck Owens, Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard,
Okay.
Waylon Jennings. But then I discovered blues. I think I was in middle school when I discovered the blues. I was just looking for something different. It was a Sunday night. I was flipping the channels on my little radio, right? Because back then there's FM radio, and I just got bored with the same old songs on the radio, or whatever. So I was just like, what? Looking for something different. And there was the pop stations, like nah, and then there's the rock station, nah, and there's one channel way over on the left end. It ended up being KJazz, KJZZ. Every Sunday night they had this program called the Lowdown Blues with Bob Cortor, and I'm like, what is this? I had no idea. I've never heard anything like this, but I really liked it, and so I sat there. Every single Sunday, I sat there with my little tape recorder and play and record. And I used to study these songs and really learn these songs. And I started going to little blues festivals when I was in high school, and then and that led me into rock because blues is kind of the basis for rock and roll. So then I started to discover rock and roll, and in college I discovered jazz. And I'd like to keep my mind open to many different kinds of music.
Nice. So
Did that answer your question? I don't remember what the question was.
it was about idols, but I think you definitely answered it. You're taking us through the journey of the evolution of your styles, right? Because I think once you hit one genre and then you get to jazz, that's more abstraction, anyways.
Sure. Yes. The word it's a mnemonic. The word warm is my idols. Willie Nelson, the Allman Brothers Band, Ray Charles, and Miles Davis.
That's a pretty good, warm idols, if you ask me, and they all have different styles too.
Yeah, there's different.
So how do you get the Allman Brothers and Miles Davis? How do you like have those combined?
If you really listen to the Allman Brothers, they are they have the same philosophy of music as Miles Davis. The improvisational, modal, kind of they just pick one or two chords and just stay on those chords and then solo over it and improvise music and melodies over that. They both bands did that. Even Willie, I think Willie Nelson throws different kinds of styles in his. Obviously, it's country music, but if you listen close, you're hearing blues, you're hearing jazz, you're hearing French, Django Reinhardt music, you're hearing Western swing. So I think a lot of the music that I tend to like is music that incorporates many different styles all together at the same time. Not like, okay, here's our country song, okay, now here's our rock song, but it takes all of these different kinds of music and puts them together in somehow in one way. And
Okay.
it seems like the bands that I like the most do that.
Yeah, no, that makes a good point. So you gave us your idols, right? So now I'm going to put you on the spot. Top 3 albums of all time, and it could be if it inspired you or just
Yeah.
what you like to listen to. So what's your top 3 albums of all time?
Gosh, if you ask me today, it'll be different than if you ask me tomorrow. I have albums. I have CDs. I'm a collector of CDs. I have literally 3,000 compact discs at my home, just on display. I collect them. I'm never gonna, I know everybody's gone digital now, so it's hard for me. It's pretty impossible for me to pick out the 3 of my favorites. But you asked, so I'm gonna answer. There's an Allman Brothers album that was done after Dwayne Allman died on New Year's Eve, where members of the Grateful Dead are jamming with them.
Okay.
Yeah, Jerry Garcia gets to jam with the Allman Brothers. It's a 3-disc thing. The first disc is all just the standard thing, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of disc 2, it starts to getting really good. That's probably going to be one of my favorites. It's hard to find. The Cow Palace, I think.
Okay.
Okay, let's go with Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam 10. It's another classic album. It's probably one of my favorites of all time. And Miles Davis, Kind of Blue.
Kind of Blue. Yes, okay. I like that. Speaking of Miles Davis, I like his, I call it the ing kind of series where it's cooking, steaming,
Yes.
smoking,
Right.
relaxing.
And the Prestige label. I've got his complete
Yes.
series on Prestige.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and a box set.
Nice, 'cause
I'm
those-
really proud of my CDs.
You should. Well, I have when next time you're over my house, I'll show you my record collection because
Okay.
I just spent like the last year getting some rap, blues, and a little bit of more folk into my style too, or my collection too. So maybe we can compare that.
Love to take a look at your record
Yeah,
collection.
yeah, and those 4 albums by Miles Davis, I think, like
Yeah.
13 years ago, really inspired me to paint because, like you're
nice.
saying with jazz music, it's that abstraction that allows your soul to flow, and I just really like putting jazz on it and just like kind of go free flow with
Yes.
everything.
And that's good music. Hey, there's a story you might not know about those albums. That's his classic quintet with Coltrane, right? And when he first started playing with Coltrane, well, he was under a contract with Prestige he was supposed to make a certain number of albums, right? But Columbia wanted to hire him, and he wanted to work with Columbia because they were much better, more famous, better distributing, all that stuff. So but he had to finish out. So in one day, he recorded like 6 albums, all those albums you just said, boom, 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 in one day, and they put it all together, and it's okay. So he fulfilled his contract. Now they can let him go to Columbia.
What a smart businessman Miles Davis was. Damn, just put all the studio day in one day and get that done.
Yeah.
Well, now I know why they're all like a masterpiece in my eyes because they all
They are.
flow together.
Yes.
Okay.
I might be wrong about one day, but one maybe 2 or 3 days, one weekend or something.
So like a
That'll be-
session?
Boom. Yeah,
That's-
one session.
That's still crazy because sometimes artists take a couple years to have different sessions for one album. So-
Exactly.
Okay, so taking the theme of the studio, when you go in the studio to record, what's different between the studio and the live performances?
Oh man, it's a lot harder for me in the studio because the type of personality that I am, I guess every musician feeds off the audience, but me even more so than most people. Obviously, I'm a singer and a guitar player and a songwriter, but more than anything, I'm an entertainer. And so I love to just look out in the crowd, see somebody who's connecting with the music, connect with them, interact with them. That's what I do. And so in the studio, of course, that's missing, and so it's a lot harder. But there's a whole other dynamic I've been in the studio a couple times. I've got 2 CDs, one with my band and one solo. And when I record the CDs, what I like is mostly a live sound. So what I would like is they did it back in the 50s. Just put a couple microphones in, and if you mess up, try not to mess up. But if you mess up, we'll just redo it. But nobody thinks that way anymore. They're all redubbed, and you lay down one track, and then you have to listen on headphones to that and play over it. I would just prefer a live sound because that's just who I am.
Okay.
I think some of the best albums that were made have that philosophy as well.
Right, and then when you die, you can have a box collection, and it's like outtake number 2, outtake number 3 for your songs too, right? Like a lot, like the band. The band had a really good style when they would record in the Big Pink, their barn up in upstate New York, and then they just had outtake after outtake. So I'd imagine like with those kind of bands,
Yes.
it's pretty magical to be in the studio. But I can see the difference between that, because like you said, everything is digital now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like performing live. So what's your favorite place of all time to perform?
Gosh, you put me on the spot because I know they're all going to say it, and they're all going to want me to say the name of their club.
Of course.
But probably the Attic is one of my favorite places to play. That building used to be called Coyote Joe's a long time ago.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite spot. I mean, I like them all. I like the Montezuma Tavern. I like the Windsock. I like playing at Jersey Lilies. It's fun to be, right there on Whiskey Row is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to pick my favorite place. I get to play at Jersey Lilies every Tuesday, just solo. I also get to play there with my band occasionally on the weekends.
Nice. Okay. So then it was hard for you to pick a favorite place to play. So what makes this town, the Quad City, Prescott in specific, so magical about the music scene here?
I like how you said magical. That's exactly what it is. We have the number of talented musicians per square feet in Prescott. We are so blessed. I I can't even tell you. Like, and I'm always surprised too. It's like, where's this guy been? I'll go out and it's like I've never heard him before. I'll go watch him live. I'm like, where has he been this whole time? We just have some amazing players, considering how small we are as a town. And what I like most, because I've lived in Phoenix for most of my life, so what I like most about Prescott is that us musicians help each other out. I mean, almost all of us. 99% of us. We help each other out. There's no competition. There's no games. There's all it is friendliness and networking, and we invite people up on the stage, and there's a lot of camaraderie instead of competition, and I love that. That's what it should be.
No, exactly. That's how it should be, and that's how I think the arts need to be in general. Because
Indeed.
if you're always competing with other people, then sometimes you can have bad blood, or then
Indeed.
you get blacklisted right now.
Right.
But no, everybody that I've hear out play, even though it's been hard in the pandemic, I love their sound.
Yeah, thank you.
I love your sound too. I like the blues mixed with the folk, and whenever somebody can bring a harmonica, that soothes my soul.
Thanks.
So going back to like your songs, like how do you formulate or how do you create the lyrics or the stories throughout your songs? Because there's one in particular that I really enjoyed. It was about bidding on being your dog.
Yeah.
That was like when I heard that, I was like, damn, Brandon did a good job of picking you for our first guest on the TBD show. But so like, where do you get that inspiration to write songs?
Well, every song is different. Like, there's not really a formula for writing songs. I've been in a slump actually for about 3 years now. I haven't even written a song, and before that, there were few and far between.
Okay.
But I can't really give you the answer because everyone is different. The song you're talking about was I'm glad you like that song. Of all the songs that I write, it's interesting for me to hear what people say is like, oh, that's the song that's going to make you famous. Nobody said that yet. Nobody said that the dog song, what is going to be the one. So I'm really glad that you like that one. What happened was I was at the Birdcage hosting the singer-songwriters open mic night, and I get to play a few songs, and then I start inviting the other people up, right? So I don't like to take up too much time, but I got to play one or two songs because I'm the host. So it was probably the fourth or fifth time that I've done it. And I don't want to play the same songs over and over again. So it was time for me, and I got to think of another song. I improvised it on the spot. The song, because I had my harmonica on, and I wanted to do something kind of bluesy in the key of D, and because I had the right harmonica for the key of D, I'm like, so I just started playing, and I started, it just came natural, completely organic. I don't even know what it means. If you want to be my dog, put in your bid. I don't even know what that means.
I was trying to analyze it every time that I watched the first episode of the TBD show. For me, it was like the metaphor was like, hey, this is our show trying to pitch it. We're trying to be your dog. We're trying to be your best friend, right?
There you go.
I don't know.
It was completely organic. Sometimes the words come first. Sometimes the music comes first. Sometimes I'll get a melody but no words. Sometimes I'll write a poem. I wrote a couple poems when I was in high school, and lately, decades later, I put music to them. So you just never know.
Okay.
And sometimes it'll start with an idea. I'll have the song title, and I've got to write a song around that title. There's one song I wrote. I wrote the chorus, and then literally 7 years later, I wrote the verses. So it was unfinished. I would still perform it every once in a while, just the chorus, knowing it was not complete. And then 7 years later, it finally came to me to put the rest of the song in. So you just never know.
No, you never know, especially with songwriting. I know that there's a few musicians that I follow where every 13 years they release an album, and it's really good. But knowing the mind set that you have to be into writing it, sometimes it's never complete. So
Exactly. I don't know. Sometimes I'll make changes in the songs, and they haven't had any. I've sung it the same way for years, and all of a sudden I'll just say, hey, it would be better if I changed this line.
Okay.
So sometimes they're never finished, I guess.
I guess not, right? Can you give us like a fun story of you performing?
All right, so it's funny. Okay, I was playing at a dive bar. Won't tell you which one, but it's not in Prescott, but it's just a dive bar, and people were drunk before we even got there. So first set, this drunk lady wants me to play. She requests this really popular song. Come on, everybody knows it. It's by Waylon Jennings. It's called Cadillacs and Women. Like, I know every Waylon Jennings song, and there's not a song called Cadillacs and Women. No, 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 look it up. Look it up on your phone. So I look it up on my phone. I Google Waylon Jennings, Cadillacs and Women. And the first thing that comes up is an article about how Waylon Jennings sold his Cadillac to some woman or something. And I'm like, see, that's not even a song. Yeah, that's it. She's like pointing it. She doesn't even look at it. She's like, yeah, that's the song. Do you know that one? Can you do that one? I'm like, so I started to kind of play along. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, the band doesn't know that song. Maybe next time we come, we'll do that song for you because I'll learn it and we'll have it learned because at some point you just have to like get back to work. So on that break, my drummer said, I wonder if she's talking about Guitars Cadillacs by Dwight Yoakam. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't. She said Waylon Jennings. My brain was thinking Waylon Jennings. I didn't even think that that's what she could have meant. So we opened up the next set with Guitars Cadillacs, and she was so excited. She's like, that's the one. And she was telling her friends, they learned this song just for me on their set break.
Hey, that's good that you were able to.
We made her happy.
Made the audience happy, whether it's Waylon Jennings or not. Awesome. So we're running out of time because we have to have you perform. So I was wondering if you just give us an update of what have you been up to recently? Like, do you have shows coming up in the summertime? I mean, pandemic restrictions are kind of ending pretty soon,
Yes.
so hopefully you'll have more gigs. So what's going
Yeah,
on?
some of the restrictions have been lifted, so now there is dancing in the clubs, and they're at full capacity. Of course, we still need to be safe, obviously. So I was very, very fortunate to be able to perform even during the pandemic. There was, of course, when everything was closed, I didn't, that was tough for me. But because I do a solo act, because there's a lot of places that still want music, but just maybe not bands, because they're not at full capacity, I've been able to still play. So you can catch me at Jersey Lilies every Tuesday, the 50s Diner and Backseat Bar in Cordis Junction every Wednesday. Right now I'm at the Squealing Hog in Prescott Valley every Thursday. If you check my website, skydaddy.net, that has a calendar that I keep updated, and it tells you everywhere I'm playing, and if I'm solo or with a band and which band it is, it tells you all the information that you need.
Sweet. And we'll have links provided in the description for you. Sky, it was really great to connect with you in this interview. My last question, though, to put you on the spot again, if you could just leave us with just some words of inspiration of how music has touched your life, I would really appreciate that.
Music equals life. I had a bumper sticker on my car that said that.
Simple as that. Well, stay tuned. Sky is going to be performing a song for us shortly. With that said, I'm Robert Zinni. Thank you for watching the Five Senses webcast. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to check us out at 5ensesmag.com.
Wrote another song today, a song I'll never, ever play. Ripped it up, I threw it away. It said all I need to say, just pray. Drank a lot of wine today, take the pain away. Nothing matters anyway. That's all I'm gonna say. Just to pray. Smoked a little weed today, to take the pain away. There's a price I've got to pay. That's all I'm gonna say. Just to pray. Yeah, I wrote another song today. It's a song I'll never, ever, ever play. And nothing matters anyway. That's all I'm gonna say. Just to pray. That one was called Pray. I'm allowed to say smoke some weed, right?
Yeah. Okay. Legal.
It is, it's legal.
We're gonna bleep it out.